Is it time for you to buy your first house? Now, I know that can be an overwhelming thought, but I'm gonna walk you down the road to show you the steps that it takes to get to home ownership. There are 7 of them that I wanna cover with you today. The first one is to make sure you get your finances in order. Of course, you know that buying a house requires a little bit of money, but with the loans out there, whether it's an FHA loan or a conventional loan, the minimum amount down is 3.5%. And in a lot of cases, you have to put as much as 20% down, depending on what type of loan it is. So knowing that, if you're looking at a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $600,000, $800,000 purchase, you can do the math and you can figure out exactly what that down payment's gonna look like. And saving for that down payment is so important. And you always have to think, on top of just that down payment, you wanna make sure that you have some cash in the bank for when you buy this home, so that you're not living house poor, and so you can actually live in that house comfortably. Now, there are down payment assistance programs out there that will allow you to take advantage of some down payment money. And if you take advantage of that, maybe that can help you save that emergency fund that you're gonna need. But making sure that you have all your finances in order is a big part of the process, because you have to be prepared when it's time to buy. Now, the second thing in here is to make sure you go out there and get your pre-approval. Now, a pre-approval is so important. And when you go out there, you want to be armed with that pre-approval based on the amount that you can afford. So when you call the right lender, you go out and you get a person that's going to take care of you the best, somebody that's knowledgeable, and somebody that's going to make sure you get the best rate. In this market, rates have gone down a little bit, and you'd like to be able to take advantage of that. And one of the ways to take advantage of that is to make sure that your credit's good for this pre-approval. A lot of people think that you need at least a 640 or 660 score to qualify for a mortgage. Now, that's not true. There are FHA programs that get people done with a 580 score all the time. But you gotta remember, a 580 score is gonna get you a 580 price as far as the rate's concerned. So you wanna work on that credit. If you're on the fringe, you have that 580, 600 score, you wanna make sure that you're building it up, paying your credit cards down, making sure you're doing everything you can do to get your score up. Now, how do you find out what your score is? On a lot of your credit cards, it'll allow you to go access at least one of the bureaus. And you can always download an app like Credit Karma. And even though Credit Karma is not 100% accurate, it still gives you a good idea where your scores are, and it does show you where your accounts are. So you wanna make sure you're checking your credit, putting yourself in the position to get the best rate. The difference between 5.875 and 7% on a $400,000 mortgage is astronomical. So you want to make sure that you have the best possible credit going into that transaction. Now, the third thing, and probably my favorite one, is for you to pick the right realtor. You don't understand completely how bad it can be when you're dealing with somebody that isn't completely familiar to the process, or somebody that does this part-time. You need to make sure you're dealing with somebody who's in the trenches all the time, that knows these contracts in and out, somebody that can protect you throughout the process. This is a huge decision for you to make buying a house. And you want to put it in the hands of somebody that's going to protect you, and somebody that knows what they're doing, and somebody that's going to go out there and make sure you get the best deal. The last thing you want is an absolute nightmare with no answers, no communication, and a good chance that things go wrong. I've been in the trenches, and I've had to save deals and do things that you don't really realize go on behind the scenes to make sure that closing goes down smooth. So make sure you pick the right agent. Please pick me. I'm Dino the Realtor. My number's right here. You can give me a call anytime. But now, the fourth thing and the most exciting thing for you is going out to pick the house. You gotta make sure when you're doing this, you don't just go pick one house and go see it and let that be it. Line up 1, 2, 3, 4 in a day. Check them out. See the pros, see the cons, see what you like. If this is your first time in the process, you have to make sure you can envision yourself, envision you, your family in this place. You don't have to rush. There's no rush in this process. You need to make sure you're comfortable. Maybe you like this house, but something's wrong with it. Walk away. Find the right one. There's something great out there for you, but you gotta make sure that you check everything out. And a great real estate agent is going to make sure they find you a good house, give you great options, and talk to you about pricing to make sure that you're comfortable, make sure it's exactly what you want. You never want to go over your budget. You want to make sure that you're completely comfortable with what payment you're taking on. So you got to make sure you find the right house. And house hunting is one of the most fun parts of it. It's the part of my job that I love the most, because when people actually find the house and they fall in love with the house, it's one of the absolute best feelings for them. I feel great because I get to fill my obligation of finding them a great home. And that's why it's so important to make sure you're dealing with a good agent that's gonna find you the right house. Now, number 5 can be one of the most stressful or exciting parts of the process. Now it's time to make the offer. You found the house of your dreams, now it's time to secure it. One of the most important things that your agent should do is find out what type of offers this property might already have on it. It's way different if you have 5 offers on a property or if there's been a property that's been sitting for 45 days. You have to make sure that you go into these situations ready to negotiate. So when you have a house that's been sitting for 45 days, a lot of time you can offer less. You can ask for seller concessions. You can go ahead and get a little bit of a better deal. But when you're dealing with multiple offer situations, there are people that are offering the farm. There are people that are offering $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over the asking price. And you need to ask yourself, are you comfortable with that? Your agent needs to present it to you to make sure that you're not going to do anything that you find to be stupid later down the road. Sometimes people go and waive their inspections on these. Sometimes people put an appraisal gap, which means if it doesn't appraise, they have to pay the difference. That can be a big number that they have to pay the difference. So when going into negotiating something like this, it's 2 different worlds: multiple offer situations and people that have had their houses sitting. And you got to make sure you're dealing with somebody that knows the difference. The negotiation can be one of the most important parts of the process. Now, number 6, so important. Like we just talked about, inspections. I don't care what the scenario is. You need to get an inspection on this house. This is going to be your next home. And after you sign the papers, it's your home. You got to make sure that there's nothing dramatically wrong with this house. There can be things that cost you thousands and thousands of dollars after you buy a house if you're not prepared. The inspector, if you're dealing with somebody good, is going to basically rip everything down, tell you everything that could possibly go wrong with the house. He's going to tell you maintenance issues. He's going to tell you things that absolutely need to be fixed. That's what they're there to do. But you have to make sure you're at least getting an inspection. If you're waiving an inspection because you have multiple offers on a house, and a lot of people have to do that, you still get an inspection for your own personal knowledge. You can do that and waive the right to negotiate, which basically says you can't cancel the contract based on the inspection. But at least you can get one so you know everything that's going on with your next house. It's so important. Once you get past the inspection process and everything's cleared, it all looks good, now's number 7. Now settlement. Now you sign the papers. And after you leave that settlement table, you have the keys in your hand and you go home, and this is your home. And now, as a first-time home buyer, you own your own house. It's something to be extremely proud of. It's something that you'll always remember, that first house that you bought, and you just want to make sure you're in love with it. You want to make sure that you went down the process the right way, and you know you got a good deal. Like I said, you don't feel like you did something stupid, and most importantly, that you're extremely comfortable and happy. I'm here to deliver those happy experiences to you. Like I said, give me a call. My number's right there. Like and subscribe to this video. I'd love to hear some comments from you about first-time home buyers and home ownership, and I'll talk to you the next time.